You can spend years becoming someone's everything and still be replaced like you were just a placeholder. Strange, isn't it? How memories can feel permanent, but people don't. In this story, we'll slowly understand why being replaced hurts so deeply, and what that feeling is really trying to tell you. There's a very specific kind of silence that only happens when someone replaces you. Not the loud kind, not the kind that comes with arguments or endings, but the quiet one, the one where you just slowly stop existing in their world. No explanation, no closure, just absence. And somehow, that hurts more than anything they could have said. Because when someone leaves with words, at least you have something to hold on to. A reason, a sentence, a final moment. But when someone replaces you, you're left with questions. Questions that echo in your mind, long after they're gone. Was I not enough? Did I mean anything at all? Was I just temporary? And the truth is, most people don't talk about this kind of pain because it's not dramatic. It's not visible. It doesn't look like heartbreak from the outside, but inside, it slowly pulls you apart. You start remembering everything, the way they used to talk to you, the small habits, the inside jokes. And then one day, you realize those same things are now being shared with someone else. And that's when it hits you. Not just that they moved on, but that you were replaceable. And that word, replaceable, it doesn't just hurt your heart. It hurts your identity, because suddenly you're not just losing a person. You're losing the meaning you thought you had in their life. You thought you were special, important, different. But now it feels like you were just filling a space, a role that anyone could step into. And that thought, it stays. It lingers in small moments. When you're alone at night, when something reminds you of them, when you see their name or their photo, or even just a place you used to go together, and your mind starts creating stories. Maybe they're happier now. Maybe they treat that new person better. Maybe everything you gave is now being appreciated by someone else. And it's not jealousy. Not really. It's something deeper than that. It's the feeling of being erased, like your presence didn't leave a mark, like your absence didn't create a gap. And that's what hurts the most. Not that they chose someone else, but that it seems like it was easy, too easy. And so you start questioning yourself. You look back at everything you did, everything you said, every moment you tried, and you wonder where it went wrong. But here's something most people don't realize. Being replaced doesn't always mean you were lacking. Sometimes it just means the other person didn't know how to value what they had. Because people who replace others quickly, they're not replacing you. They're replacing the feeling, the comfort, the attention, the presence, and that's very different. But when you're the one left behind, it doesn't feel that way. It feels personal. It feels like you were compared and lost. Like someone looked at you and decided you weren't enough to stay. And that thought, it changes how you see yourself. You become more careful, more guarded. You start holding back parts of yourself because you're afraid they'll be wasted again. You stop giving fully. You stop trusting easily. And without realizing it, you start shrinking. Not because you're weak, but because you've learned what it feels like to give everything and still be replaced. And the hardest part is that no one really sees this. From the outside, you look fine. You go on with your life. You smile. You talk. You function. But inside, there's this quiet weight, a question that never fully leaves you. Did I ever matter? Or was I just convenient? And that question, it doesn't just stay in the past. It follows you into the future, into new connections, new relationships, new beginnings. Because once you've felt replaceable, you start expecting it, even when there's no sign of it. And that's where the real damage begins. Not in the moment you were replaced, but in how it changes the way you exist afterward. Because now, you're not just dealing with loss, you're dealing with doubt. Doubt in your worth, doubt in your value, doubt in whether anyone could ever truly choose you and stay. And that doubt, it's quiet, but it's powerful. It slowly shapes your choices, the way you connect, the way you love, the way you hold yourself back, just in case. And this is the part people don't talk about, the part that doesn't heal with time alone, because time passes, but the feeling stays. That subtle belief that maybe you're just replaceable. And if that belief stays unchecked, it starts becoming your truth. But that's not the full story, because what feels like being replaced is often hiding something much deeper, something that has less to do with them and more to do with what we attach our worth to. And in the next part, we're going to explore that hidden conflict, the part of you that quietly asks for validation, and the reason why being replaced feels like losing yourself. If this content speaks the words you can't explain, click subscribe. Thank you for your support. The truth is, being replaced doesn't just hurt because someone left. It hurts because of what it awakens inside you. Something that was already there, quiet, unnoticed, waiting for a moment like this to surface. Because when someone walks away and chooses someone else, it doesn't just feel like loss. It feels like proof. Proof of a fear you never fully said out loud. That maybe you were never enough to be chosen in the first place. And that's where it starts to go deeper. Much deeper than the situation itself. Because now, you're not just reacting to what happened, you're reacting to what it means about you. And the mind, it doesn't stay neutral. It starts connecting dots. It builds a story, not based on facts, but based on insecurity. You remember the times you felt ignored, the moments you weren't prioritized, the subtle signs you brushed off, and suddenly, everything rearranges itself into one painful conclusion. They replaced me because I wasn't worth keeping. Even if that's not true, it feels real. Because emotions don't wait for logic. They move faster. They go straight to the part of you that already questions your value. And for a lot of people, that part didn't start here. It started much earlier. In small moments that seemed harmless at the time. Being compared to someone else, not being chosen first. Feeling like you had to earn attention, instead of receiving it naturally. Little things, but they stay, they build quietly, until one day something like this happens, and suddenly everything collapses at once. Because now it's not just about one person replacing you. It feels like a pattern, like confirmation, like this is just who you are, someone who gives, but eventually gets left. And that belief, it's dangerous, not because it's loud, but because it's subtle. It doesn't scream at you, it whispers. It tells you things like, don't get too attached, don't show too much, don't expect them to stay. And slowly, you start listening, you start protecting yourself, but not in a healthy way. You protect yourself by becoming smaller, less expressive, less open, less you. Because a part of you believes if you don't give too much, you won't lose as much. But what you don't realize is you're not just protecting yourself from pain, you're also limiting your ability to be seen. And then something else begins to happen. You start looking for signs. Constantly, you analyze messages, tone, timing, behavior. You notice every small shift. because you're trying to predict the moment they might replace you too. Even when nothing is wrong, your mind prepares for it. And that creates a kind of tension that the other person can feel, not because you say it, but because of how you act. The hesitation, the overthinking, the quiet fear behind your words. And sometimes, that very fear starts pushing people away. Not because you're not enough, but because you're not fully present anymore. You're half there, and half protecting yourself from something that hasn't even happened. And that's the trap. The pain of being replaced doesn't just stay in the past. It leaks into the future. It changes how you show up. It makes you doubt things that are actually real. It makes you question people who genuinely care. And the hardest part is, you don't even realize you're doing it. Because to you, it feels like you're just being careful. But underneath that carefulness, there's fear. Fear of being abandoned again. Fear of being compared again. Fear of being quietly replaced without warning. And so you try to stay ahead of it. You try to control what you can. But some things can't be controlled. And when you try too hard, you end up losing yourself in the process. Because now your focus isn't on connection anymore. It's on prevention. Preventing pain, preventing loss, preventing that feeling from happening again. But here's the uncomfortable truth. You can't prevent it. Not completely. No matter how perfect you try to be, no matter how careful, no matter how much you give or how little. People will still make their own choices. And that's what makes this so hard, because deep down, you want certainty. You want to feel like if you do everything right, you won't be replaced. But relationships don't work like that. People don't stay because you were perfect. They stay because they choose to. And when someone doesn't choose you, your mind tries to find a reason, a flaw, a mistake, something you could have done differently. Because it's easier to blame yourself than to accept that sometimes people just don't have the capacity to stay. And that has nothing to do with your worth. But emotionally, it doesn't feel that way. It feels like rejection. And rejection, especially when it's quiet, it creates a kind of confusion because there's no clear ending, no closure, just a slow realization that you've been replaced. And that lack of clarity, it keeps you stuck. You replay things, you analyze conversations, you revisit memories, trying to find the exact moment where you lost your place. But maybe there was no single moment. Maybe it wasn't one thing. Maybe it was just a difference in depth, a difference in how much each person was able to feel and hold and commit to. But when you're the one who felt deeply, that explanation doesn't feel enough. Because your experience was real, your emotions were real, and now it feels like they didn't matter. And that's the core of it. Not just being replaced, but feeling like what you gave wasn't significant enough to leave an impact. And that belief, it doesn't stay contained. It spreads into how you see yourself, how you see love, how you see connection. You start questioning whether anything is ever stable, whether people ever truly stay, whether you can ever feel safe again without that quiet fear in the background. And that's the hidden conflict. It's not just about them anymore, it's about you, trying to rebuild a sense of worth that was never supposed to depend on someone else in the first place. But no one teaches you that. No one tells you how to separate your value from how someone else treats you. So you learn the hard way, through moments like this. Moments that break something inside you, but also reveal something important, something uncomfortable, but necessary. Because the pain you feel right now, it's not just showing you what you lost, it's showing you where you've been placing your worth. And in the next part, We're going to slowly, gently rebuild that. Not by pretending it didn't hurt, but by understanding how to stop losing yourself when someone else chooses to leave. So maybe the goal is not to completely stop feeling replaced, because if you felt something real, of course it's going to hurt when it's gone. Of course it's going to leave a mark. You're human. You don't just switch off attachment like a machine. But maybe the goal is something quieter than that, something softer. To stop letting that moment decide what you're worth. Because that's what's been happening, isn't it? Not just that they left, but that you let their leaving become a definition, a conclusion, a quiet sentence inside your mind that says, if they replaced me, then I must not have mattered. And that sentence, it feels true, but it isn't. It's just the easiest explanation your mind could find to make sense of something painful. But easy explanations are not always accurate ones, because being replaced doesn't automatically mean you were lacking. Sometimes it just means you were present in a moment that the other person didn't know how to sustain. Think about that for a second. Not everything that ends because it was not enough. Some things end because the other person couldn't hold what you were giving. And that doesn't reduce your value. It reveals their capacity. But I know that's hard to accept, because emotionally, it still feels like you were the one left behind. And when you're the one left, it's natural to turn inward, to analyze, to question, to search for what was wrong. But what if, instead of asking, what was wrong with me, you slowly started asking something different? What did I give that wasn't seen? What did I offer that wasn't understood? Because there's a difference, a big one. One question breaks you down. The other helps you see yourself clearly again. And this doesn't mean ignoring your mistakes. We all have them. Moments where we could have been better, more aware, more patient. But those moments, they don't define your entire worth. They don't erase everything you gave. And they don't justify someone making you feel invisible. So the first shift is small, but powerful. You stop measuring your value by how someone else treated you. Not completely, not perfectly, but little by little. You notice when your mind starts going there. When it starts saying, they chose someone else, so I must be less. And instead of following that thought, you pause, you question it, you remind yourself, someone else's choice is not a measurement tool. It's just a reflection of them, their needs, their timing, their emotional depth, not your worth. And the more you practice that, the quieter that inner voice becomes, not gone, but less convincing. And then something else begins to change. You start reclaiming the parts of yourself that you slowly hid, the way you express, the way you care, the way you show up. Because when you've been replaced, you tend to pull back. You start thinking, maybe I was too much. Maybe I gave too much. Maybe I should be less next time. But being less is not the answer. Being unseen by the wrong person doesn't mean you need to become smaller. It just means you were seen by someone who didn't know how to appreciate depth. And if you shrink yourself to avoid being replaced, you might avoid pain, but you'll also avoid real connection, the kind that actually sees you. So instead of becoming less, you become more intentional, not giving everything immediately, but not hiding yourself either. You allow people to meet you as you are, and if they can't hold that, that's information, not rejection, information about where they are and what they're capable of. And that saves you from something important, from trying to prove your worth to people who were never in a position to recognize it, because that's exhausting. Trying to be enough, for someone who doesn't even know what enough looks like. So you stop chasing that, not all at once, but gradually. You stop needing everyone to stay. You stop needing every connection to validate you, and that creates space. Space for something different, something calmer, a kind of self-trust, where you know, even if someone leaves, you won't lose yourself with them. Because that's the real fear, isn't it? Not just being replaced, but losing your sense of meaning in the process. So this is where the shift deepens. You begin separating who you are from who stayed. You are not defined by who chose you, and you are not reduced by who didn't. You are defined by something much quieter, by how you show up, by how you care, by how you remain true to yourself, even after being hurt. And that takes time. It's not something you decide once and suddenly feel okay. There will still be moments where it hits you again. A memory, a thought, a sudden wave of feeling. And for a second, it feels just as heavy as before. But now, you respond differently. You don't spiral as deeply. You don't turn it into a judgment about yourself. You let it pass. You acknowledge it, without letting it define you. And slowly, very slowly, you start feeling something else. Not the absence of pain, but the presence of clarity. Clarity that says, I mattered, even if they didn't stay. I gave something real, even if it wasn't kept. I was not replaceable. I was just not matched. And that changes everything. Because now, being replaced doesn't feel like erasure anymore. It feels like misalignment. And misalignment, it hurts. But it doesn't destroy your sense of self. It doesn't take your value away. It just redirects you toward people who can actually meet you, toward connections where you don't feel like you have to compete or prove or hold on tightly just to be chosen. And those connections, they exist, but you can't reach them if you're still trying to understand your worth through someone who couldn't see it. So you let go, not of the memory, not of what it meant, but of the conclusion you built around it, that you weren't enough, that you were replaceable, that you didn't matter, because those conclusions, they were never facts. They were just pain trying to explain itself. And now, you don't need that explanation anymore. You see it for what it is. A moment, a painful one, but not a defining one. And maybe that's where healing really begins. Not when you forget what happened, but when it stops deciding who you are. So if you're still carrying that feeling, that quiet question of, did I ever matter? Maybe the answer is simpler than you think. You did. You mattered in the way you showed up, in the way you cared, in the way you gave something real. And someone else's inability to hold that doesn't erase it. It never did, and it never will. So take your time, move slowly, let yourself feel it, without letting it define you. Because there's still more ahead, more connection, more understanding, more moments where you won't feel like you're being replaced, but finally being chosen. And if this feeling still lingers in you, then stay, continue watching. There's another story waiting for you, one that might help you understand yourself even deeper.